There we go. And back here on the backstage pass against CMA Fest 2024 rolls on to about what, 3 or 4 more, something like that. It's that's 20 plus today, and probably over 60 on there too as well. KKTC True Country 99.9, and of course out there hightidecountry.net. Brandon Morrell, Elise Saunders, kind of the special guest. I can't even talk anymore, kind of co-host too after so many of the shows we're going to do. And John Hollier joining us here on the show. He was stuck in traffic, but you made it.
We did. We're here. Yeah, we're here. Slowly but surely, we're here. Yeah.
Well, tell us about this new music out. We were talking about it a little bit before we started here too. Excited to get these songs into the fans' hands, and of course, a lot of projects. You're staying busy.
Yeah, so we've got our hands kind of a lot of irons in the fire, is what they say. We just started working. We just started releasing, I would say, this Wednesday. So CMA Fest week, we released our first song off the new record. We put my debut album out last year, and this record we started having team members join. So we're no longer independent, but we just put a song out. And the way we do things is there's 5 of us, and we record everything. We play the shows together. It's a band environment, but we record live. We do the old school. We were in Memphis recording. So it's old school rock and roll. It's got a little bit of Southern soul, like a Gulf Coast Springsteen is what someone said. So I feel like that describes it accurately. Songwriter based. So I do feel like I emphasize the lyrics and the chords, and I really do work hard on the songs, but it is a band group. So that's the vibe. And we put our first song out on Wednesday, and we got 3 more coming up down the chamber before we go back into Memphis and record.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And the current single is Feed the Flame. Tell us about the inspiration behind that as a songwriter.
So as a songwriter, we had so many instances of living out of our van and playing shows. You know, sometimes shows I felt like we didn't even belong on the stage. It was such a big, important place to play. And sometimes I feel like we brought way too much ammo to a place and playing bars and playing empty bars, playing packed cover gigs, doing the whole thing. And I felt like there was like gasoline to the fire sometimes we just kept taking everything down the chamber and playing shows for the last 5 years. And Feed the Flame was something it's a title I had heard and something I'd written down, and the song lyrically came about in a day or two, and the band really hopped on. We have a saxophone, we have a big harmony section. So there's 5 of us, everyone sings. It's a really big sound. The lyrically, it's not Robert Frost here, but it's certainly as a band, I think it's very important to listen to. There's a live band in the room with an old Memphis recording studio, all analog gear. My vocal mic was the room mic. So if you hear it, it's cool. People do that these days, but not a lot. So I do feel a little bit of carrying the flag of the old school retro thing.
That's amazing.
Hey, being from, like I said, down there, Louisiana, like I said, Gulf Coast, love that. So it's Gulf Coast Springsteen. I want to dive in more to that too, because there's so much that swamp pop. There's Cajun. I'm just telling you, that's what it does. I know it because I'm down there. And a buddy of mine, I contract some work with Cajun Country, CCR down there, Cajun Country Radio, that's down there, Beaumont, Texas, and right there in Houston and Vidor. And so those towns. And so we play that Lumberton, Texas. And they love that sound because I started radio in that market, back 15, 20 years ago. And swamp pop was something there. Zydeco. You've heard of Wayne Toops. Everybody knows who that is. One of my best buddies, Grammy Award winner. He's done it all down there too. But there's something about getting an accordion together and all these different instruments. And when you put this stuff together, man, you come out with some amazing sounds. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's the best. Well, we originally, moving to Nashville, when we started this project, we didn't have a saxophone. We were kind of doing by the book, like guitars, harmonies, like thing. And I'm going to give credit to Eric Massey, the producer of my first record, and my manager, Alex Brawl. They kept sending us back to New Orleans to open for these bands and play. And we were getting just absolutely exposed and hosed by their live show. They weren't talking about this lyric. It was nothing about lyrics. And they were just jamming, just playing music. And the crowd was eating it up. And I felt for the first time like we had to re-envision and reinvent ourselves. And so we added Teddy Thibodeau Jones on the saxophone. And the last year, we've been going back to Louisiana and the Gulf Coast, and it's been an entirely different experience. Like, people that down there want to hear what you got. Like, what do you have? And yes, we played Jazz Fest, and Wayne Toops played after us, which was surreal because I've been knowing that guy and listening to him for years, but hearing him play and do his thing from side stage was an entirely different experience. And the guys hearing Wayne Toops for the first time too was something surreal. So something in the water of the Gulf Coast has been really special for what we're doing. And again, getting to play with bands from Texas and Louisiana and Alabama, there's something special about what's happening right now out there. It's a turn of events. We've been out with the Red Clay Strays. We've been out with Randy Rogers as of late, and both those acts are kind of Gulf Coast bands, and there's something special, and I'm so excited to even be a small part of what's happening right now.
Bands that I know very well from down there, Red Clay Strays, and of course Randy Rogers Band. Seen him in concert a lot, 25, 30 years he's been doing it. Had a lot of great success, and we're known for crawfish, shrimp, and just good old parties down there, which you're going to find out too, because you came to Texas recently with me, so you know. We just got a lot in common too as well. The stockyards it was there. I mean, it was happening. Fort Worth was that way too, which was crazy out there. And historical Billy Bob's Texas. I mean, there's so many people. Oh, watch out. I'll go put ideas in my head. I'm putting ideas in his head too. Hey, crawfish season just wrapped up too, but man, we got the best crawfish down there, don't we?
Oh, unbelievable. I feel like there's a little joint here in town that's going to do crawfish tomorrow. So I'm going to go hit up Gumbo Bros. I'm going to give them a shout. They're from Central Louisiana. They opened the shop up here. So, yeah, they're doing crawfish tomorrow. I'm going to hit that up. Yeah, I can't get away from it. So,
well, I'm surprised they're continuing it too as well. It's finished from down there. Hey, I want to ask you, speaking of just music, and I know we're going to have you back for a full length one of these too as well. It's just short version with all this craziness going on for this entire 3 days we've been here. But Toby Keith, losing a legend in the industry who meant so much to country music. Some thoughts on just the songs and the man, he just gave back so much to the industry and meant so much to some of my good friends like Big Vinny, Trailer Choir, and we just did a big benefit show for him back at CRS this year too. We had a benefit to raise money for OK Kids Corral, his charity out there too, and we raised a good. You were there with us, and it was a fun time. Just what he meant to the industry and overall, just giving back to younger artists.
Well, I mean, Toby Keith, I feel like you can't talk about country music without Toby Keith, especially in the last 20 years. So I would say I cut my teeth playing bar gigs, and Toby Keith was all over that set. And there was always something special about I don't know, without going into super detail about some of these gigs. I remember playing Should Have Been a Cowboy, and it was absolute game changer at some of these shows we played, like frat houses and sorority houses, and diving into his catalog as a songwriter, but also, yeah, as an artist and what he stood for. As a country musician, I feel like it's bar none. You probably can find 3 or 4 people in his class, but what he leaves behind, I don't think there's a whole lot of people filling that void. So yeah, we're going to feel the effects of losing a Toby Keith, I think, in the next couple of years. And there's certainly a class coming up that can fill that void. But yeah, certainly like listening to Toby Keith and his catalog and what he did and stayed relevant for so long. Yeah, I don't think there's an answer for his loss. I never knew him. I never got to meet him, but I do feel the residual effects of losing such a great, absolutely.
We'll check out the new music across all the platforms out there too. John Hollier here on the Backstage Pass, and tell you what, get some crawfish or shrimp right now if you're down in that area too as well, which is good down there in Texas, listening to all the good stuff out there, which I guess if you still can, it's a good thing. More to come here. Was that like 2 or 3 more? Something like that, which is out there. We're almost there to the end, day 3. Don't forget the Opry tomorrow, backstage at the Opry, Backstage Pass, backstage at the Opry there too. Of course, Sunday Morning Country with Brenda Lee coming up tomorrow there. That's 1 to 5, somewhere in there, the time slot. But we get to sleep in tomorrow. We know that, which is a good thing. Back here more on the show. Stay tuned for a lot more here. KKTC, True Country 99.9, and our friends at hightidecountry.net. More to come. Stay tuned.